we are a mere hours removed from the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event, the last stop on the road to WrestleMania before WrestleMania. Welcome back to the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. We also have a ton of championships changing hands this past week in the world of professional wrestling. Truly another week where we are just spoiled with fantastic wrestling, and the spoils are going to continue this week. We'll get to the watch list soon enough. We'll get to the Elimination Chamber review soon enough. First, let's cover all those titles that changed hands this week, starting with NXT, where we saw three different championships change hands on four title matches in this past episode of NXT. Most important one, I would say, big one, was Miles Bourne defeating All Ego Ethan Page for the North American Championship. Miles Bourne is somebody that NXT is clearly high on for a good reason, and here he is as our new North American champion, ready to show us what he's got in 2026. But we also saw Elio LaFleur defeat Jasper Troy in a triple threat for the Speed Championship. So Elio LaFleur is now the Speed Champion. He seems to be an interesting luchador over there at NXT, a French luchador. I actually am a pretty big fan of Elio LaFleur, and I think he could do some entertaining things with the Speed Championship on Tuesday nights. Very excited to see where that goes. Last but not least, a huge shock to me was Vanity Project defeating Dark State to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Vanity Project seems to be a faction that NXT enjoys having around right now, so let's see what they can do with these NXT Tag Team titles. I was very unimpressed with the booking of Dark State after a while. I think it just got to a point where they beat everybody on the roster and they were just holding those belts. So we'll see what Vanity Project has up their sleeve here. We also had New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Beginning USA show, the first USA show of 2026 for New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where we were able to see two championships change hands for New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you were missing Konosuke Takeshita holding gold in New Japan, then you are relieved because Konosuke Takeshita defeated El Phantasmo for the NJPW World Television Championship. And we also saw Bolton Oleg defeat Tomohiro Ishii to become the strong openweight champion, a belt that has been around the waist of Ishii for almost a year now, maybe 8-9 months. It's really a belt that has had trouble getting some momentum going. But nonetheless, man, I think New Japan is slowly but surely figuring out what they want to do with all of these titles, right? And I think I have faith in the current layout, the current roster, and the current creative department of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the current leadership. This was a fun show. It was a $20 pay-per-view. Good to see Konosuke get some gold again. New Japan needs to rely on Konosuke right now. He's just been fantastically built by AEW and is just a great service not only to New Japan Pro Wrestling, but to Pro Wrestling Noah as well. So very smart of New Japan to keep him in the loop there. We also, ladies and gentlemen, had a title change on SmackDown 24 hours before Elimination Chamber. We saw Rio defend and lose the titles, the Women's Tag Team Championship titles of WWE, to the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend. Nia Jax and Lash Legend are now the Women's Tag Team Champions. And, honestly, I really enjoyed Rio as Women's Tag Team Champions. I thought they did a really good job building Rio to the titles. I thought Rio have been some of the most interesting, most fun, most entertaining champions in all of wrestling. So I was a little disappointed to see them take the titles off of Rio right before WrestleMania because I expected a high caliber Women's Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania, focused around Rio. That's not going to happen. And let's go ahead and get into Elimination Chamber to explain why it's not a big deal. Ultimately, Rhea Ripley, 24 hours later, went on to win the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which guarantees her a match against Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. Definitely a surprise. I'm sure some people saw it coming. I didn't. Here's why. You see Tiffany Stratton in that match, and you're like, okay, they're gonna want to have Tiffy get the WrestleMania moment again. She had the WrestleMania moment last year in Vegas. WrestleMania's in Vegas again this year. Why not do it again? The Vegas crowd will love it, and it'll be fine. Ultimately, I'm glad they didn't go that route. Okay, I'm sure Tiffany Stratton will get her time in the limelight again soon enough. Rhea Ripley has been out of a world championship picture for a very long time, so it's a nice surprise to see her fighting for the women's championship at WrestleMania. That's an argument. Some people can argue that the women's world championship is better than the WWE women's championship. To me, it doesn't matter. I think Rhea Ripley, if she is to defeat Jade Cargill at WrestleMania, will do a great job restoring the prestige and honor of the WWE Women's Championship. Something that Jade Cargill hasn't been able to do. I hate to say it, but she still has a lot to learn in the ring, which is fine, right? That's fine. People take their time to learn. WWE is taking their time with Jade Cargill. AEW protected her heavily when she was TBS champion all those years ago. And there's nobody to blame here, right? Things just take time. I'm not going to sit here and say one company handled Jade Cargill better than the other. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be patient and I'm going to see what they have in store for Jade Cargill. One thing became abundantly clear in 2025. Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton are both too green to carry a good match together, right? That's why they had their 5-minute matches. So it's really good to get somebody like Rhea Ripley who can carry Jade Cargill to a good match in that spot for a premium WrestleMania match here, for a high caliber WrestleMania match. That'll be very interesting. That'll be very cool. Not what I was expecting, right? I was expecting Rio to have a nice tag team match at Mania, defend their titles. But no, we're going to see Rhea Ripley in the limelight, which is, who can complain? And if Ripley wins, fantastic. If Cargill wins, that's a huge win for Jade Cargill. You got to understand they're building her up, and she deserves to be built up, even if she's a little green in the ring. So this is a win-win situation. This is a fantastic match for WrestleMania, undoubtedly, right? We also had Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee on this card for Elimination Chamber in Chicago, and we were able to see AJ Lee defeat Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, which was a awesome match. Just a fantastic match, right? I think these women have great chemistry in the ring, and obviously they've done a fantastic job building their story up for, several months. And we got to see, their first singles match against each other, and it was good. And I'm sure we'll see the second one at WrestleMania, and I'm excited to see that one as well. Good stuff here by both women, and it's exciting to see AJ Lee hold the Women's Intercontinental Championship. It's cool. It's cool. And then we also, got to see the cool moment of CM Punk after successfully retaining the World Heavyweight Championship in the ring with his wife AJ Lee, who was the new Women's Intercontinental Champion. I'm not even going to talk about the picture that he posted online after the show. I'm not going to talk about it. Nope. And then we got to the main event, right, which was the men's Elimination Chamber match, which was very interesting, right? Saw the return of Seth Rollins. Saw Drew McIntyre get involved to prevent Cody from winning the chamber. I'm going to be honest, I don't love the fact that Drew McIntyre personally sabotages Cody Rhodes. Like, you're the champion now, bro. Like, act like it. But here's the thing. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't see where WWE is going with this, especially with the way it played out, having Randy Orton RKO Cody Rhodes to win the chamber match and punch his ticket to fight for the undisputed WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Right? That'll be cool. I'm sure it won't be a one-on-one match. If it is, I'll be fine with that ultimately, but I could see Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu both making it a fatal four-way undisputed WWE Championship match at WrestleMania, joining Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton in that match. Ultimately, though, I like the storytelling aspect. The masked man thing was okay. I'm just glad we're done with it now. Now that it's been revealed to be Seth Rollins and two other guys, we'll see what that turns into, whatever that means. I'm glad to be done with the masked man stuff. It was getting annoying. I'm not gonna lie, it was getting super annoying. All right, I think that's fair to say. I think everyone agrees with me there. Not gonna harp on it too much, but we're gonna move on. Yeah, I think you got a story brewing with Drew McIntyre, basically being Cody Rhodes' personal hater, even though he's the freaking undisputed WWE champion. And then you have Randy Orton seizing the opportunity and taking advantage of the situation at the expense of Cody Rhodes. These guys are supposed to be good friends. Obviously, they've made it clear that the number one thing that matters to both men individually is the undisputed WWE title, which is fair. But I think we are planting the seeds for, wait for it, a Cody Rhodes heel turn, right? I think Cody Rhodes is going to get fed up, right? Drew McIntyre is getting to his head. And then I think this action by Randy Orton to take advantage of the situation and RKO and pin Cody Rhodes to win the men's Elimination Chamber match and punch his ticket to WrestleMania, that may be a bit of a straw that breaks the camel's back here. We probably won't see the heel turn itself until the WrestleMania match, but I wouldn't be surprised, guys. I could see a multi-man match again: McIntyre, Orton, Jacob Fatu, and Cody Rhodes, fatal four-way for the title, Mania, right? I could see them playing on last year's WrestleMania main event between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, where Cody has the opportunity to hit either Randy Orton or Jacob Fatu with the title. And instead of, being hesitant like last year, this time he actually does it, turns heel, gets the 3 count on Randy Orton or gets the 3 count on Jacob Fatu and wins the undisputed WWE championship, cementing his heel turn and being the new champion once again. I think that's fantastic, guys. I want to see heel Cody Rhodes. His gimmick is the American Nightmare. And if you didn't watch his work in New Japan as a heel, as the American Nightmare persona, you missed out. And this is a great opportunity to turn him heel and, create a similar character to what we saw Cody do in New Japan as the American Nightmare. I think it's time, I think it's time. It's poetic. It rhymes. We've done everything we can with Cody Rhodes as a babyface. We've maximized it. It's been fun. Some people got tired of it. Honestly, not me. I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan, and I'm ready to see him as a heel with the undisputed WWE title. And I think that would be a humongous moment at WrestleMania if that happens. Humongous. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. But ultimately, yeah, it'll be cool. Whatever they do, we'll see. We'll see how they do it. We'll see when they do it. We'll see why they do it. We know that, maybe the Drew McIntyre thing is getting annoying. We know that a lot of stuff is up in the air in terms of how it's going to play out at WrestleMania. But, I trust this creative team of WWE's, and I think they're going to do something cool. And I think they're going to swerve us. And I think we're going to have some fun watching WrestleMania and the build to it. Absolutely. Very exciting stuff here. We also had Danhausen debut in WWE, right? We had the crate delivered. It said do not open until February 28th, the date of Elimination Chamber. And just before the main event, Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, the general managers of Raw and SmackDown, respectively, go ahead and open the crate, and we get this whole theatrical debut of Danhausen. And let me tell you, man, a lot of people that I talk to about this aren't very excited. I'm very excited. Danhausen in WWE is going to be awesome, especially because WWE has been leaning into the spectacle characters a little bit more recently, right? They recently acquired AAA. We've been seeing spectacle characters like Mr. Iguana, La Parca Tres, El Grande Americano. We've been seeing AAA lean into the spectacle of pro wrestling, a bit more of the sports entertainment aspect, slapstick comedy-esque things. And Danhausen embodies that very well. He's a very well established gimmick with that sort of thing. So he's going to fit well. I could see him having good matches in AAA. I could see him featured on Raw, featured on SmackDown, whichever one they want to do. I would love to see Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. That's one that comes to mind. I would love to see Danhausen versus El Grande Americano. I would love to see anything Danhausen relating to Otis, right, and Akira Tozawa. They have these comedic slapstick, larger than life characters in WWE. In fact, they specialize in it. So you get a character like Danhausen in the mix who can also mix it up from main roster comedic characters like Dominic Mysterio, El Grande Americano, Alpha Academy. You think of guys like that. And then you think about him going to AAA and mixing it up with La Parca, mixing it up with Mr. Iguana. This is going to be a good time. This is a great addition to the WWE roster, and WWE knows how to have a good time with these types of characters. Dare I say, more than AEW does. In this case of Danhausen, more than AEW did. I think this is going to be awesome. Okay, I think Danhausen in WWE is going to be completely fantastic, and I hope I'm right. I have great confidence in that, to be honest with you. Elimination Chamber holistically was the show I needed WWE to have. Okay, the Saudi Rumble really rubbed me the wrong way. There's a lot of things that's going on around and outside of WWE that is affecting my perception of WWE. I'll be completely honest in saying that, okay? I do a really good job of trying to enjoy the wrestling product for what it is. But recently, the Saudi Arabia stuff, some of the storylines they're trying to tell with guys like Drew McIntyre, guys like Kit Wilson, I'm just not a fan of that. It's crap to me. I'm sorry. It's crap. Okay. And I've been watching WWE for a long time. I'm used to crap. All right. Let me say that right now. I grew up during the Vince era, post ruthless aggression Vince era, the dementia era. I'm used to crap. But they are finding ways to make crap when they are much more capable these days. It comes with the territory, right? It comes with being owned by TKO. It comes with the current state of the world, unfortunately. And I try not to let that shit affect my fandom of pro wrestling when I analyze WWE. And Elimination Chamber allows me to do that, allows me to get excited about WrestleMania. What are they doing with Cody Rhodes? What are they doing with the undisputed WWE title? Fantastic to see Danhausen coming into this roster. He's going to do very well here. Um, yeah, this is the show I needed from WWE. I'm finally excited. Okay, I've been waiting to get excited about WrestleMania. Here we go. Here we go. It is March 1st. We got the Rumble behind us. We got the Chamber behind us. We have a good idea of what WrestleMania is going to look like, and it's going to be pretty fun. All right, what they've done so far is fantastic with the Royal Rumble winners, with the Elimination Chamber winners, the sort of intrigue that we have around the undisputed WWE Championship picture, the intrigue with the return of Seth Rollins. There's a lot of good stuff going on right now. I do want to pat WWE on the back and say good job. There's been a lot of bullshit, but there's been a lot of fun too, and I'm excited to see how this all crescendos at WrestleMania and what 2026 has in store for WWE at a high level, because it's going to be good. I don't doubt that. Nonetheless, guys, I think it's time to get into the watch list. I did enjoy Elimination Chamber. I would even say I enjoyed it more than most of the community members on here did. It did what it needed to do for me. There was not a bad match on the card. I'm excited to see what Danhausen does in WWE. I think he has a lot of potential with the style of wrestling that WWE provides. It's going to be very entertaining. I think the fans are going to love him. It's going to be cool. Now let's get into the watch list here, guys. We got more of a busy week in the world of professional wrestling ahead of us here, and let's go ahead and see what's in store. On Monday, of course, we have Monday Night Raw, where we will see Dominic Mysterio defend the Intercontinental Championship against Penta. Now, I got to say, man, Dirty Dom with the Intercontinental Championship was one of the best things that the world of wrestling was able to, witness in 2025. But after losing it to John Cena and winning it back from John Cena, I will say it has not been as good as it once was. I think this second IC title reign for Dirty Dom, it's just, it hasn't been good. Okay, so if we want to put the title on Penta right here, I'm all for it. But nonetheless, I'm glad to see him defending the title. I know he was injured. Maybe he's good to go again. Maybe we'll pick up the title defenses. That was one of my favorite things to see on Monday Night Raw, was Dirty Dom defending the IC title. Right, he had some good matches against the likes of AJ Styles and many others. So this will be a step in the right direction here. Tuesday, NXT, we have JC Jane defending the NXT Women's Championship against Zadia. JC Jane picking up the, lacing the boots, defending the NXT Women's Championship on NXT programming. Should be very interesting. Zadia just turned heel on Sol Ruka, so she's ready to be a monster heel for the NXT Women's division, and this is going to be a fun match. We'll see who comes out as NXT Women's Champion after Tuesday's episode of NXT. Wednesday, AEW Dynamite. We have Tekla defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Thunder Rosa. Haven't seen Thunder Rosa fight for the AEW Women's World title in a while, but I love Thunder Rosa, and I think it's going to be a fantastic match against Tekla, who's ready to show the world that she is going to be a fantastic AEW Women's World Champion, like Chris Statlander before her and all the other women before her. All right. We also have MJF defending the AEW World Championship against Kevin Knight. Good. You go, MJF. We'll talk about MJF more in a second. Friday Night SmackDown, we have Cody Rhodes taking on the undisputed WWE champion Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE championship. So we will see more of the story develop as Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre go one-on-one for the title on SmackDown once again. Very excited to see that. I know we've seen it a lot, but we're doing something with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre here. This was always a feud that I looked forward to. When Cody Rhodes won the undisputed WWE championship, I said he's going to have a great feud with Drew McIntyre. Has it been as good as I expected it to be? Honestly, I will say no. No, a lot of it has dragged in the second half of 2025. Even seeing Drew win the title early 2026 was a bit of a, weird situation. And now we have another one-on-one match between them on SmackDown. I'm excited. I'm willing to get excited, right? Like, we might be entering the peak of this Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre feud. We've kind of been having it on the slow burner for several months now, and now it's WrestleMania season. Now the next premium live event will be WrestleMania itself, so anything between Cody and Drew will build to this gigantic crescendo. So I think it's time to get excited about Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, which I understand can be hard for some of us. Like, that is completely fair if you're not very excited for this match or this feud. And then on Saturday, last but not least, we have NXT Vengeance Day, premium live event on Peacock for NXT here. We have 2 title matches announced for it, right? We have Izzy Dame defending the Women's North American Championship against Tatum Paxley. That's a pretty high caliber match. If you've been watching NXT, that's a big feud. And then we have Joe Hendry defending the NXT Championship against Ricky Saints, which is also a match that has definitely been built to for quite the last few months now. So we got a good week, man. We got some good-ass matches here, man. AEW World title being defended, undisputed WWE title being defended, both of those titles being defended on weekly television, right? We have Joe Hendry versus Ricky Saints, a match I'm very excited for. Izzy Dame versus Tatum Paxley as well. That's a match they've been building up to, right? And then we have Dominic Mysterio finally defending the Intercontinental Championship. It feels like it's been so long. So we got a lot of good stuff here, guys. This watch list is packed, right? Just after Elimination Chamber in the eve of AEW Revolution, the first pay-per-view that AEW will do in 2026 this month, soon enough. Before we get out of here, let's go ahead and do what we do best. That is the top 20 champions of wrestling. Okay, just a reminder, if it's your first time listening to this top 20 champions of wrestling list is based off of work rate. It's based off of what? It's based off of work rate. Are you lacing up the boots? Are you defending the title? That's what it's based off of, okay? So if your favorite isn't in a favorable place in your personal opinion, it's because they're not defending the title enough, right? Or, not even to put it like that. It's somebody is doing a better job of that, okay? Of course, this is completely subjective. There is a lot of data and analytics based on work rate that goes into the placement of these champions, but we get to a point where subjectivity is the only distinguishing factor between some of these spots here. I will admit that. Okay, So before we get into the top 20 list, let's go ahead and go down the honorable mentions list, starting with the never openweight six-man tag team champions, Bishamon and Bolton Oleg. Okay, over there in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then we have the WWE Evolve champion, Jackson Drake, on the honorable mentions list as well. Women's North American champion, Izzy Dame. Hangman and Jet Speed, AEW World Trios champions. Finally, we get to see these AEW World Trios titles actually mean something, right? Hangman and Jet Speed are actually doing a pretty good job. They're pretty early in the reign, but they're doing good. Women's NXT champion, NXT Women's champion, JC Jane. She's been doing fantastic, lacing up the boots, getting in the ring. It's been a good time. When you think about the most recent era of NXT, you think JC Jane at the top of the women's division, and she's been, rising to the occasion very well, I will say. Women's world champion Stephanie Vaquer has really done a great job restoring prestige to the women's world championship of WWE. Mike Santana, TNA world champion, one of the most interesting things happening in TNA right now, if not the most interesting thing happening in TNA. You got the Hardys over there. You got Trey Miguel making a splash. You got Leon Slater being awesome. You got a lot of good things happening in TNA. So that's a huge compliment I got there for Mike Santana. And then we have the World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, to round out our honorable mentions list. All these champions are doing a great job. They did not crack the top 20, but they are doing fantastic work. All right, let's get into it here. Number 20, we have the Women's Evolve Champion, Kendall Gray, who continues to take a title that meant nothing and make it mean something, a newer title in the world of wrestling, right? She continues to be entertaining. She continues to be fantastic in the ring. We have number 19, Pagano and Psycho Clown, the AAA World Tag Team Champions, continuing to do their thing and be an awesome tag team for AAA. We have Bandito, the Ring of Honor World Champion, who takes that Ring of Honor World Championship to AEW, to CMLL, and then also defends it in Ring of Honor, doing great work, has been for almost a year now. Cappuccino Jones at number 17, the WWE ID champion, again, taking a newer title and making it mean something. Number 16, we have the CMLL World Heavyweight Champion, Claudio Castagnoli, again, somebody that's taking a championship in CMLL and making it mean something in the world of professional wrestling, which is not easy to do with a CMLL championship. In Mexico, for CMLL, the oldest wrestling promotion in the world, the titles, they don't mean what they mean in WWE. They don't mean what they mean in AEW. So it's good to see Claudio doing a good job with these titles here, number 16. Number 15, we have FTR, AEW World Tag Team Champions, doing what they do, kicking ass and landing themselves on the number 15 spot of the top 20 champions of wrestling. We have number 14, Athena, the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. We have the Babes of Wrath at number 13, the AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions, continuing to defend the titles and make things interesting. We have the Continental Champion of AEW, Jon Moxley, at number 12, continuing to get in the ring and make things interesting. I could see him being one of the biggest baby faces in AEW by the time 2026 is all said and done with that Continental Championship. We have number 11, Ricochet, the AEW National Champion, a newer title for AEW. And we all rolled our eyes when we heard the announcement of the AEW National Championship. We've seen titles get announced in AEW and go on to be nothing. But recently, AEW's been in rare form. I think they learned from some of their mistakes. And I will say the AEW National Championship has been very entertaining since its inception in late 2025, with Ricochet being the inaugural champion, defending the title in AEW, defending the title in Ring of Honor, defending the title in CMLL, defending the title in Rev Pro, defending the title in New Japan, doing everything that AEW said that they were going to do with this title with Ricochet. And it's the 11 best champion in the world of wrestling right now. Ricochet is, I should say. All right, let's get into the top 10 now. Top 10. At number 10, we have the United States champion, Carmelo Hayes, right? The champion of Friday night, defending this title almost every Friday night on SmackDown. Low-key having one of the best U.S. title reigns ever. Like, the past 3 to 4 United States champions have been fantastic. Sami Zayn was fantastic, brought back the weekly open challenge on SmackDown for the U.S. title, and then it was then carried out by Ilya Dragunov, who did a good job, and now Carmelo Hayes, who's doing excellent work here. Okay, number 9, we have the Elegance brand, the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions of TNA, doing solid work here, and as long as they continue doing what they're doing, they will be featured on this list. I could say the same for the next two. Number 8, Lanie Luck, WWE Women's Champion, and Red Velvet, number 7, the Ring of Honor Women's World Television Champion. All of these women just doing fantastic work, lacing the boots, defending the title, making a title mean something, right? Taking matters into their own hands, and I'm happy to feature them in the top 10 for the top 20 champions of wrestling list. Okay, let's get into the top 6 here. Number 6, a new face arises. We have Trey Miguel, who recently won the TNA International Championship and has been making that title mean something so far in the past couple of weeks that he's had it. He lands himself at the number 6 spot here. I think he's fantastic, and I think it's good to see Trey Miguel get some of his flowers after being released by AEW unexpectedly. And, this was a moment where I really sympathized with Trey Miguel and wanted to see good things for him in the world of wrestling. TNA picks him right back up, puts a singles title on him, and Trey Miguel is the number 6 champion in the world of wrestling right now. Top 5 here. Number 5, AEW Women's World Champion Tekla, somebody they've built well to the title. I will say they've made her feel like a big star since she stepped foot in AEW, and they've slowly built her to the AEW Women's World Championship. They've done a fantastic job. I'm excited to see what Tekla does with that AEW Women's World title. Number 4, we have the NXT champion Joe Hendry, somebody that we've been waiting to see slowly get closer and closer to holding the NXT championship from his time in TNA. Now him being an NXT superstar formally, and now he's the NXT champion, and he's got a big match against Ricky Saints this upcoming week in the world of professional wrestling. Top 3 here. Number 3, TNT champion Kyle Fletcher. Goodness gracious, man. Kyle Fletcher is... words cannot do justice to how awesome Kyle Fletcher is, and words cannot do justice to how well AEW has booked the TNT championship over the past year and some change. They've done a great job from having it on Jack Perry as a heel to then putting it to Daniel Garcia for then Adam Cole to have it. Then we see Dustin Rhodes win it in Texas, only to see him drop it to Kyle Fletcher just a mere weeks later. Kyle Fletcher makes the title mean something, defends the title consistently. We see Mark Briscoe get it, and then we see Tommaso Ciampa get it as he enters AEW very quickly, becoming a champion, and now it's back on Kyle Fletcher. The TNT championship is one of, if not the most fun championship in wrestling right now, I will say. Number 2, the undisputed WWE champion Drew McIntyre. Okay, and there is only one reason why Drew McIntyre is not number 1 in the world of wrestling as one of the champions right now. And that is simply because you don't book a champion to continue to chase the person that lost the belt, right? He's a champion. He's the undisputed WWE champion, but he's chasing Cody Rhodes like Cody Rhodes still has the title. You don't do that, man. Honestly, I don't care. I'll say it. You don't do that. That's wrong. That's not fair to Drew McIntyre to put him in this story and have him be such a snarly heel, and they're doing the whole toxic work environment character with Drew McIntyre, somebody that looks like he would never complain about a toxic work environment. Like, it's just crap, okay? It's just crap. I love that Drew McIntyre has the title. I love the intrigue around Cody Rhodes going onto the road to WrestleMania. I freaking hate the way Drew McIntyre is being booked right now. I'll freaking say it, man. I've been positive about WWE. I enjoy the hell out of the Elimination Chamber. WWE's booking their undisputed WWE champion, Drew McIntyre, like shit right now. And he should be number 1, but because of the choices that they choose to creatively do with him, he's number 2, okay? I hope we can actually book Drew McIntyre like a badass. We were doing that for years, right? We were doing that from freaking 2020 to very recently. I don't know why we stopped. It was time to give Drew McIntyre his flowers. We did that, but we did that with the exception of booking him like shit. All right, number 1 is the AEW World Champion, MJF. I mean, MJF is just out for blood right now, proving that he's the best wrestler in the world. MJF is undoubtedly the best wrestler that's never stepped foot in a WWE ring. I could say that, and that's all time. Yes, I just said that. That's truth. And he's out to prove it, man. He's a shark in the water, and he smells blood, and that's what lands him the number 1 spot in the top 20 champions of wrestling list here on the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. And that's going to close us out, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. I love producing this content for you. We are spoiled rotten as wrestling fans. Always remember that. We are spoiled so freaking rotten. And with all the good wrestling happening around us, from WWE to AEW to TNA to New Japan, etc., remember to conserve your energy. It's a marathon, okay, not a sprint. It can feel like a sprint sometimes. It can feel like there's more wrestling to watch than we know what to do with. It's a marathon, all right? And this podcast is meant to keep you informed in the world of wrestling, okay? So if you ever need to take a break, all you got to do is listen to my show and you will be informed. You won't miss a single thing if you listen to the show. All right? All right, guys, be good and be happy. We'll talk later. Thank you so much. Much love, much peace. I don't know. I don't know how to exit out of these shows. All right, peace out.